Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docu-series.
Yes, but through our own lens, which can be sensual or can be sexual or romantic or just no no hard. I can't. I don't
Good
know.
one, Chris. Good
Basically,
one,
it could be a
Chris.
bunch of things at the end, but hopefully mildly sweet because we make love to you at the end. That's what happens. Tee hee hee. Anyway, welcome. And the kind of love we're giving to you is what? Wow, what kind of love?
We're giving you Love is Blind, Season 4, Episode 5, Paradise Lost. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you guys, so this is our last episode of Mexico, I believe. I could be wrong, I could be right, who knows? But we're
I
in
think you're wrong. I
Mexico.
think you're wrong. Mhm.
We're in Mexico. And
Okay.
we wanted to be our last time in Mexico. So the girls, Jacquelina, Micah, Tiffany, and Chelsea, are all talking about Zach. They're talking about how gross he is, how Bliss dodged a bullet. And this is the part where I was like, Tiffany and Jacquelina, y'all need to choose what side of the fence you're going to be on. Because I don't like the fact that y'all are just sitting up here talking all this shit about Zach. And it just like, it was just like, I didn't like it. And,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that Tiffany was trying to not say anything too. It
Yep.
was
It was a
really
lot.
Jacquelina.
Mm-hmm. It was Jacquelina, Micah, like, and Tiffany just knowing the TV's on her. Sorry, the camera's on her, and just being like, "Wow, yeah," and then kind of
Mhm.
like a gym pan. Yeah, this was actually the first time I think I've seen Jacqueline in a negative light. Like as much as I don't like Irina, like Jacqueline came heavy, and she was just even the way that she was like making fun of Zach, like he's gross, and honey, if he was my lawyer, like he wouldn't, I would dump him and all that stuff. Like it was just, it comes off as being obviously negative, and it's interesting to watch how off-putting that is, how unattractive that is for someone who's like really, really beautiful, physically beautiful. Every time I see her like without makeup, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're a bananas-looking person.
Yeah, I mean, I like a little shit talking, but
Oh,
I love a little shit talking. But
yeah.
like, I just think that I couldn't be drunk on camera. That is the end,
Okay.
beginning and the end of that. I should not be inebriated while on camera because I'm gonna say a lot of things that gonna A make me be and look like a bitch, and B I most likely will be absolutely incorrect. But I will be wanting to say the funny thing and just be the mean girl. I always worry that I would be the mean girl, but I know I wouldn't be. I would just be telling the facts as I saw them, which can come off as being mean.
Yes. Yes, because it's like if you don't have anything nice to say, come sit by Wa. But no, you don't say anything at all. But like you know what I'm saying? Like it's that kind of thing where it's true. So basically, we go over. We go over. He messed up. Bliss doesn't forgive. She doesn't.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna
it.
edit
I'm
this
sorry.
out. 322.
Sorry, I lost my mind a little bit.
It's okay.
So as we know, there are three dark skinned black men and two white men on the show. And I'm only going to bring that up because now that they're in Hawaii, you will only see them talking to their segregated color groups. Okay. So I'm bringing it up now. And I hate to say it, but it's like there is not one time you'll ever see Kwame and Paul. There's not one time you'll ever. It's true. You'll never see Marshall and like Zach sit down, talk about the way they're different styles of clothes, they both wear different clothes, whatever, but basically, okay, so this conversation happens between Zach and Paul, where Zach complains about Irina to Paul, and Paul's like, oh, weird, because like when she met me, she definitely like, oh, love me. And as we know, Chelsea has watched Kwame from the last episode really, really lean into a 30-minute conversation with Micah that went from him being pissed to then him being smitten. And she watched it all with the other Judys, and now she's pissed. And the Judys are making her like, we have to go do something. So next scene, we have Chelsea confronting Kwame. And this was really interesting because Chelsea is so straightforward and so direct. And Kwame does not want to admit that he is attracted to Micah or still wants to be with Micah or still loves Micah or is in love with Micah or is waiting for Micah to just text him, give her one back call for him to just fly out of the room back into Micah's eyelash extensions. What?
Yep. Kwame has drank in the Kool-Aid. Okay. Kwame ain't woke. I was watching a podcast where they recently spoke about what being woke is, and I have a very specific idea about being woke. And what being woke means is that you recognize that things are put in your face in this country in order to have you self-hate and also to like ply you into compliancy. And Kwame is asunder. Okay. The fact that he not only would go for the type of person that Micah is over Chelsea, who is like admittedly a cool ass B. Chelsea is cool as fuck.
Funny.
And
She's
like,
funny.
And if you watch her in the rest of this season, you would know that like she's the person that you would want to do this experiment with, because she's straightforward. She's gonna tell you how she feels. She's not gonna be like Jacquelina and some of these other biddies on here who don't know how to ride their emotions. It's Chelsea. So the fact that Kwame can't see that is whack. And it's like really indicative of how I think sometimes men do things like that, where they go after the Irenas and they go after the Micahs of the world instead of the stalwart Blisses and the 21 pairs of shoe having Chelseas. It's crazy.
Yeah, basically Kwame wants to be like, oh no, you see, like it's totally natural for me to like be upset, and then it's totally cool for me to like talk to her afterwards. Like Chelsea's like, no, you literally go over there, you say this was uncalled for, you squash it, and then you leave. He's like, yeah, no, like you want me to just leave like after like, you know, like she's apologized, and Chelsea's like, yeah,
yes,
because you have no other tie to her.
Yeah,
your tie is to me and where I am.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like ends this by kind of being like, look, I'm your fucking future, so move on. Get with the fucking program. It's me, not with her. You're living in the present. Stop living in the past. And every time that she talks to him, it's interesting. She's like a life coach. She's kind of like she kind of like has these mentory kind of conversations where she's talking him through the next stage of the relationship or whatever, and he knows that she's right.
Yeah.
And so he has to say yes, and he's not as smart as her.
Yep.
You know, so he can't talk his way out or make her manipulate. Like he's kind of like checkmated. I don't know what to say. It's like a weird, but every time they're together, it's a little bit weird. Plus, he's somewhat attracted to her, and so it's so funny.
Yeah, and he's used to being the smartest person in the room, and it bothers him that she is on his level, if not more. So now we have their little excursions that they go on, and we have a scene where Paul and Micah go on an RV and they dive into like a catfish pool or whatever, and she's kind of scared, and he's telling her about all of the like different ficuses and like plant life, and he's really excited about being there. But before we have that, we have a scene with Jacqueline Marshall on a float. And I don't recall this scene, so I'm gonna let Chris talk about it.
They're in the pool, and then it's like they're in the pool, and you know her hair's back. It's like she's rocking that like pulled back look. I think she looks so beautiful. And then this guy just brings over this floating platter of like charcuterie and fruit, just floats it in the pool and like goes over to them. Now, when I was watching it, I was like, that looks amazing. But then as I was watching it, like she has like wet hands. It's like touching like a breadstick. I was kind of like, there needs to be some sort of absorbent towel for me to dry my fingers on and then get the pieces of like whatever fruit. And yeah, that is what I meant when I said that they're in the pool floating around and eating. But at this also point, Jacqueline, for reasons that are quite unknown to me for her personal opinion of this, just calls Irina a peasant in a confessional. And it's like, she's a peasant. And listen, I think that we could have used maybe like Jacqueline being like, because Bliss is my friend and Irina really tried to F her over or something. But it just comes kind of like out of nowhere, you know, in such a way, because she's done nothing to her. But at the same time, it is very funny because Irina in every way is. I love her so much. I really love her as a villain. And I also villain. And I'll tell you why I love her as a villain, because there's a vulnerability to her villainess. Like, I know that she flipped Zach off when he called her Megan Fox, because she really in her mind was like, fuck you for making fun of me, because she would never even believe that a man would find her that attractive. That's how insecure she is. And yet everything that we're seeing is like a manifestation of that. But anyway, so let me get to her. So oh no. So do you want to talk about Paul and Micah's beautiful date of her, like they're driving in a dune buggy, then that like lagoon?
I thought I said it.
Okay. I will say the one thing about that. Oh yeah, you wouldn't drop back and forth to that. Okay, you did that. But let me say this with the lagoon. I felt like the lagoon was really shallow. It's when they jumped in, I was like, no, don't do it. And then the next scene, Paul's definitely standing in it. And I was like, it looks beautiful, but like definitely would not have jumped in. It seems dangerous. But then Irina and Zach are like laying out one of them lounge beds. And Zach just like puts it to her. He's like, you're not in this. I mean, you are giving me nothing. Like, you are weird. Don't talk about it. It's like, I don't have to tell you. It's awkward as fuck. And she like ostriches her head into the sand. Is it ostrich?
Yeah, an ostrich does that.
Emu? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
an ostrich does it, but it's interesting that you like gave it an action like an ostrich is. And she ducks her head
verbs.
like an ostrich. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm glad that you're good with the grammar, because I don't know what a verb or an adjective is, or like a pronoun. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But like
an action verb. A verb is an action word, and so to ostracize means to duck your head and say, no, that's an English word. And
yeah,
that's a Webster.
Ostracize is one thing.
Yeah, but
ostrich
eyes
are things that belong in an ostrich's head so that it can see. But yes, I don't to be honest, I don't remember this scene either.
Okay, so that's
I don't remember the scene either, but I know she was a fucking bitch in it. And I know she tried to act like that's not what was really happening. And he's like, no, that's what's happening. And she was like, I don't really think that I don't really think that you know me at all, because I really do.
She's unbelievable. Like, she, at one point she just gives up wearing makeup, which I was like surprised for her too. So then basically after this day of hell, they go into a cocktail party at night where they always going to put on slutty clothes and just like, come in the couples into the cocktail party. And then Jacqueline is like, talks about how sore she is from Marshall and her like getting down, which, is classless. And she's always, she really was the first person to draw attention to that she felt less than Marshall in a class way. Remember that?
No.
Oh, she kind of like was like, he's so classy, da, 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 da. And then she has really, I don't know, downgraded in my mind. So basically,
yeah, I mean, are you saying that, okay, if I were on a show and I were talking to my best Judies, we had all made it through, I think I might say something. I wouldn't say that my sugar walls were sore, but I might be like, girl, I'm filling a void.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
That's okay. Well, I think that's easier. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just something a little more demure about that. I don't
remember what she said, but
she said she was sore.
Okay.
I mean, I said it 14 times. I'm like, I wrote it down. So Zach, like made his decision based. Zach says that he made his decision based on his heart. That's why he picked Irina, and we both know he made it with his dick. And
he was scared.
Paul also admits to having some regrets about letting Amber go. And then Chelsea comes over while Micah and Kwame are talking and is like, Chelsea and Kwame are talking, and then Micah comes over and wants to talk to Chelsea, and then Kwame like picks a little something out of like Chelsea's teeth in like a marked show of like, that's my woman or whatever. So then, Micah like sits down and is like, what's happening? Like, why would there be any weirdness? And Chelsea has to be like, well, it's because you made a really bad comment to Kwame, who then had an emotional reaction, and then you guys talked for a long time. Like, don't whatever. And Micah is like, kind of, I don't know, like Micah really is like, well, he was just being weird and salty. And I was like, she like, even in the conversation, like didn't want to take any responsibility. She's such a bad person.
Micah is a mean girl, but she's only a mean girl in a group. When she's outside of the group, she doesn't want anybody to think bad of her, and she doesn't want anyone to not like her. She is not fully and staunchly into her mean girl aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? Or like, and the thing is though, like I get it, right? I don't, because like if I said something or did something, I'm gonna be in it and say that I did because that's how I felt, and then have years and years and years of guilt and anxiety for things that I once said when I shouldn't have said it. But Micah is gonna try to fix it in the moment and look like crazy. Because it's like, stand in your truth. If you said it, you said it. But then God comes in and saves us all from this awkward ass conversation. And it starts to rain, and everybody runs back to their prospective rooms. And yeah, then Kwame and Micah, Chelsea talk about how that conversation went, like how they're down for each other going forward. And then Irina and Zach run back to their room and basically talk about how awful this whole process has been for them. And and he's like, I mean, he literally breaks everything down. He's like, you tell me that I stare at you too much. You told me I look like a cartoon character. You don't want to hug me every time I go in for a kiss. And she's like, yeah, I just got like really uncomfortable with you because like I just can't reconcile like what you look like. And then finally they just like say all their grievances, and Irina tries to act like she doesn't want to break up when he suggests it, as though like almost like she doesn't want to be the cause of this not working. And I'm like, girl, you are absolutely the cause of this not working. And then Irina realizes that she's a bitch. She's like, I know I've been a bitch, and like, you know, I just couldn't get over it. And instead of calling it quits, like when they should have, she just doesn't. She just wants to make him feel bad the whole time. Then she's like, actually, I think when we get on the plane, like we shouldn't sit next to each other. And I'm like, that is crazy that you forged this bond with somebody in a pod and you don't even want to sit next to them in the airplane. You can't even be friends with this person. You didn't even have the wherewithal. I mean, because Micah wasn't attracted to Paul and he knew it, which is why he's like, I should have chose Amber. But like she tried and like gave into the fact like, hey, but like I mean, I can't imagine just seeing somebody and thinking they're so unattractive that I can't even just, when the cameras are off and the mics are off, say, hey, unfortunately I'm not attracted to you. I wanted to tell you this because I think you're an awesome person and I think that we could be friends. So like, you know, if you want to ride this out, let's ride this out. If you don't, then I understand. I hope we can be, you know what I mean? Like something. But no, she just like, they don't have that conversation at all. And then he's like, yeah, you know, I knew I wanted to leave you on day 3. And she's like, I knew I was going to leave you when I saw you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And he like laughed through that. I would have absolutely went up to a producer and been like, can you get this bitch out of my room?
Yeah. Like he tries to like be buddy about it. Like, wow, now that we got the elephant out of the room, that we really hate each other. We talk about how ugly we think each other is. Like, you know, it was uncomfortable, but she is uncomfortable. She is cringy and uncomfortable. She's cringy and uncomfortable every day of her life, and it manifests on the screen. Like she's a great character in that way. I don't know what I mean. Great to watch. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by I said that. Yeah, basically it rains. That's the end. They're brushing their teeth. Yep. Also, it also looks like Wah was like
no, it didn't. Like, it looked like I was brushing my teeth. So they're in the bathroom brushing their teeth before going to bed after like letting go all of their hate for each other. And she's like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in Paul. And I'm sure Zach was like, I kind of look like Paul. And we were all like, yeah, you guys kind of look alike. And they could be cousins, Chris. And then
I disagree, Wah.
Okay, I have a question. Do you think that they look so unalike like Kwame and Brett?
Do I? Yes.
Oh. Well, okay.
Well, yes, I think they're like Kwame and Brett, because like if you said, well, Kwame and Brett are two guys with like two dark-skinned black guys with, you know, strong upper bodies and brown hair with, you know, like that's shorter and clean cut.
Why
whatever.
do I have that voice? Why do I have that voice? Why do I have the voice?
Because that's what you sound like. That's exactly what you sound like. That's
okay. So if I were to say it like this, I think that Zach and Paul look exactly alike.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Kwame is a well. Okay. Listen, I think Paul and all these men are attractive. I don't think they're not attractive.
I don't think. Yeah, I think they're all attractive, but I think to me, Kwame looked decidedly like West African, and Brett does not. But you know, that's just me. But I see what you're saying, and maybe you're right that I am fully just being like, well, they have dark hair and blue eyes. They look exactly the same.
See, you just like that, Wah.
I know.
Gosh.
That's what I was trying to do so that I could be in character and be my real self on this podcast.
Oh, see, that is her. You guys, can you believe we've come to the end? 20 minutes, but this is just one episode. Don't worry, we have a lot more to record, but we made it to 20 minutes. We can't believe it. And let me tell you this right now. This is a great season, and I really like it so far. The pouring rain, Irina just goes out like flaming, like, I fucking hate you. I like Paul. You know, like in the next episode, we'll hear how that like somehow also like makes its way to other people or whatever, which is great. Like, Irina does not give one F, and I cannot tell if it's like just so real and just it's all like just unplanned how not conscious she is of her stuff, or if there's little producers being like, hey Rena, like, who do you like why don't you like let us know, like, you know, because, well, whatever. Anyway, so I have pictures. Don't worry, we'll get into the next episodes as we like kind of unpack a little more. We love you guys so much. If you'd like to follow us on social medias, you're welcome to do so. We have an Instagram. Have you heard that thing called Instagram exists? It's crazy. Type in @DocuSweeties into your Instagram search browser right now. Please go ahead and follow us and like every one of our posts, all of them. At the end of that, you can go on TikTok with the same name in, and then you can all go to Twitter @DocuSweeties1, and then you followed us on all the social medias. If you want to do more, go ahead and give us 5 stars and leave a review, and we would do the same for you. Wah. Go ahead.
You can follow us on our Patreon if you would like to give your girls a little extra money and you like our content and you're like, hey, I want to get some extras. We do a live every first Monday of the month. So guess what? We did a live today, and it's live on Patreon. We also give the patrons the episode immediately after we record it, and then you know, so that those are the perks, and we're gonna offer more perks. I've been watching season 1 of 90 Day Fiance. Like, that was 2015, so the, you know, the fashion was wild, and I have notes to talk about all of it. And you would get that for the $10 tier. It's only 2 cups of Starbucks coffee. I mean, you probably spend more. You probably spend like $12 for 2 Starbuckses. You know, you could just give
Starbucks guy.
Star swashbucklers. You could give all of that to us if you want to, and that would be great. So you could join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties. And we appreciate your time, you guys, and we're going to let you go and have the rest of your day, okay? Bye.